Hi everyone, it's a beautiful Friday morning. Fall is in the air, which I'm not much of a winter person, and for me fall is kind of like the death knell of summer, and so I don't enjoy it the way a lot of people do. But it is so pretty out right now, and it is just a beautiful, beautiful end of summer, beginning of fall day. I walk into my studio and I'm so thankful when I look around at all that has transpired and all that has been accomplished this year. I just wanted to share my studio the way it looks right now with you guys. I've got when I come in every time, I put my apron on, I put my Optivisor on. It looks a little crazy, but you know, it's just what I do to get ready to work. So I thought this morning I would share my studio with you. It's grown a lot. Even some of my earlier or beginning students haven't seen how it's grown. So, and some of you have never seen my studio in my classroom. So I'm just going to take you on a little tour this morning and kind of show you. Hope you enjoy it. And I'm going to flop the camera around now so that we can start. Okay, so when you walk in, this is what you see. It's just kind of a full view of everything. And I've got those beautiful bay windows where my bench sits, and I've got all that scenery out there to look at. So this is just kind of a general overview. We'll go around and we'll look at it a little bit closer. Let's see here. So over here, this is kind of my business area. My actual my actual computer that I work from is in the office. It's an iMac, and I do all of my posting on everything there. But I do have an older computer here that I do some various things on. But I have this. It's just a hook for all the aprons. Every student always gets an apron. That's the first thing I have them do and put on. You can see my calendar. This is for August. I haven't flipped it over yet. Lots and lots of classes. I mark, this is only for classes, so I only mark for classes on this. I keep all of my other schedule plus classes on my laptop, which will, or my computer, which will go to my iPad and phone. Storage, lots of different bags. That's not bags. Bags, you all remember those. And other storage. There's invoices right there. I just put an invoice in there from Rio and didn't get it good and shut. But this is where I kind of ship and take care of that kind of stuff. I've got boxes. This is my grand tutorial book. That's mine. I pull out when if I need to refer to something. Just this little mannequin is sitting out today. My credit card thing. Of course, books and various things. Business cards, notepads. It's just kind of the business area of things. I have 4 student benches in here, which I'm thankful for. And they're each outfitted with tools. I have the GRS bench pins on all of them, and they are removable. They have a steel block, so they can do texturing or whatever they need to do. But the cool thing about the GRS bench blocks are that, or bench pins and apparatuses, you can switch out for different attachments. So, and then I found these great little basket, shelf type things at Hobby Lobby. Very inexpensive, but they were cool, I thought, because they were great storage, one for each bench. So it'll hold an Optivisor, it holds ear protectors, masks, but it also has the little bar to hang pliers and that type of thing on. I do color code each bench. So my color is turquoise. So if I go and take my tools to a workshop, I'm turquoise. So I have turquoise on all of them, but then each bench has a color code. So this one has silver. So it's turquoise plus silver. So this is the silver station. Each bench has a vise. This one happens to have an Eidlongy mandrel in it for anticlastic forming, because that's how this student's project got started. She's coming back today. She wants to add a different patina to it. Each student's bench has a flex shaft, so they have their own flex shaft, various tools. A flex shaft they have the hand pieces. This one has a drill in it, but we do finish with it. All the different finishing polishers, all the benches are equipped with files and tools and mandrels. So each student has their own, and a cute little picture as well, just to round it out. This is how I store my sheet metal, or let me put it this way, my silver. I have different envelopes. They just fit, or they're just 12 inches wide. So when I get a brand new sheet of 12-inch metal, it doesn't fit, or it fits so tight it would rip the envelope. So I stick it up like this for a little bit. It'll be very quick before I cut it off and start using it, and then I can just lay it down in the envelope. Some of the other gauges, like 16 gauge, I have it in a little envelope. It's so expensive, I don't use it that often. I don't need a great big envelope for it. Got these at Office Depot. They were great. They were on clearance. So, and then I have had these for a long time. They're just magazine holders that go on the wall. This is just a cute little card. I think I got it at Target. I have my tumbler on top of it. The drum is not in there. The drum is in the bathroom. And that murky liquid underneath there is etching mordant for copper and brass. And the cool thing about this is that when you etch, you need to agitate from time to time so that the particles that are coming loose drop to the bottom. So when I'm etching, I float my pieces on top of that etching mordant, turn the tumbler on, and there's a vibration that occurs that's just perfect for dropping all those particles to the bottom. So I just think that's wonderful. Had that little space. It fits perfectly in there. I think I got that at Target for $29. The tumbler does not have an on and off switch. It only has a plug in and plug out. So I attached it to one of these Christmas tree switches that you can get. It's a foot pedal, but I could just punch it, turn my tumbler on, punch it, turn it off. So that's kind of a cool thing. This is my work area. This is the original work area that I had. This is my original bench. So all of the tools and everything are over here are tools that I use on a routine basis. Now I have scattered a lot of my tools through the other benches and things, and I wind up working at them as well when students aren't here. But I have tons of wire. This is copper and brass. A couple of argentium silver smaller wires that come on a roll. I like this little metal grid system. It was a Martha Stewart system that I got at Michael's, and I can't find it anymore. So I really, really like it because it is metal. But if somebody sees any more of those somewhere, let me know. I like the slots. I like the attachments. It's got little cups. It's got the shelves. And I'd like to expand it a little bit, but I can't seem to find it. So I've got all kinds of gadgets and gadgets and tons of flex hammers, my saws. I have this little rotating thing. It's just awesome. And of course my jewel tool. I debated long and hard whether to get a polishing arbor or a jewel tool. Finally decided the jewel tool would do so much more, and I love it. It's been over a year since I've had it. Never once was I disappointed in it. Never once did it not do the job perfectly, and I'm thrilled with it. Then I have these containers or shelves drawers. I guess they're drawers. And I have all kinds of things like mandrels in there. I have polishing mandrels for the flex shaft, drills, dental floss, ring mandrel. So try to stay very, very organized. These are some of the smaller little gems and things. These go in my frets hammer, silicone hammer, glues, centers for the punch, various things, and flotsam and jetsam and what have you. This is all related to polishing. Those are 3M bristles. Other various sandpapers and polishers and what have you. Solder. That's an entire drawer of solder, various kinds, argentium solder, brass solder, paste solder, sheet solder, wire solder, all solder. And this is my jewel tool drawer. And yes, I should probably be much more organized, but for now it works for me. It's right here below as I go from one wheel or grit to another. They're right here handy, and I just toss the one I take off into there. More stuff. That's steel wool drawer. And that's some scrap. One of these days I'm going to get it all together out of all the student benches and everywhere. And I'll send it in and maybe get a Rolls Royce or a Lexus or something like that. No, I'm teasing. That's probably about maybe $100 at trade-in value. So here is my bench, and this is the view as I'm sitting at my bench. And one thing you'll notice is that it's not like a desk. It's much, much higher. Now, the jewelry friends I have out there know this, but that may be a surprise to a lot of you who are not jewelry makers. So that's because I want the bench pin right here at eye level where I'm working. And so this is really my view as I'm working, and it's right here. I can saw, I can hold metal here, I can lay metal here and drill, and you can see it's well worn. I can put wood filler in there and sand it off and go at it again, or I can simply unscrew it here and put a new one in at some point. I really, they develop based on how you make jewelry. So each bench pin is going to be a little bit different, and you're going to saw into it, you're going to drill into it, and it's going to change through time. Here's my drop tray. Even though this tray is made to catch it on its own, I like to put a secondary something to catch the silver in. That way it's easy. I just pick it up, I take it over, I can dump it into my big batch of silver down here, because I had this up here, but my goodness, if you drop something you want, you're going to be digging forever. And there's all these other little things I've got sitting back there. That's my belt sander I love, and it's handy when I need to pull it out and use it. And the top of my bench. What a mess. As you know, I've been working on butterflies. I've got all these little butterflies cut out. They're copper. I've got these that I'm working on. These are etched. It's kind of hard with the light. Got to saw all of those out. There's some more on copper. And of course I've got jump rings and its and bits. Oh, there's a silver one. That's a silver butterfly that I've etched. Doesn't give a very good picture on the camera. So I'm going to do some more of those in the silver. That's what I keep saying. I'm getting ready to start on the silver. I'm getting ready to start on the silver. And then you don't see any silver. So I am getting there. There's some bracelets I'm still working on. Those are more butterflies. They need things. I'm not finished with them yet. Some tools that I polished and finished, a flex shaft handpiece. This little shelf is unfinished projects, or often when I'm doing a class like on the hammered hearts, I'll start a piece so that to demonstrate, and so I wind up with, you know, tons of little half-finished earrings at various stages, as in demonstrating. So I've got that. I've got, here's a ring that I've been working on, and so it's up here. It's not finished. I've got a bunch of brass things in here. If I need jump rings, I've got some jump rings in there and various things. So, you know, some discs and things like that. So this is kind of all unfinished or projects in the process. Kind of keeps it straight. This is a thing someday I'm going to get really busy with this, but this is a little thing I found I love because it's small, and I've started marking jump rings. Now I'm going to have to take all these jump rings and measure them before I can put them in here, but I have the gauge of wire and the mandrel size that they were formed on, which, so now hopefully once I get them all in there, I can just open that up, pull out a jump ring I need. There's a butterfly in silver, a couple of rings. I'm going to put that butterfly in a ring, clean it up. It's not cleaned. A bench block and vise and sanding and cutting discs and all varied types of things. This is my whatever drawer. I have divider. I have a broken hand piece. Why I keep it in there, I don't know. I have a center punch. I have a hammer hand piece. Scribe. So lots of little metal tools. All my little hex. I can't even think of them at all. How silly of me. Files, files, files. Mandrels. Then here is just kind of a mess, but this is my pickle pot. I don't need all three hot, but I love this crock pot. There's for pickle. That's to clean your metal after fire, anything like that. That has soda water in it. That will neutralize any action. So I put metal in there after I've put a patina on it, or I've pickled it, and then that's clear water just to rinse the soda water off. Those two don't need to be hot, but sometimes I need hot water, so I'll just turn that one on, that clear water, and go from there. That's a little steel basket to put in the pickle. You can't put steel in the pickle with your jewelry unless you want it copper plated, but that is a specially formulated little stainless steel basket, which I am so in love with. It's made my life so much easier, rather than just dumping little itsy bitsy pieces in the crock pot. I'm waiting for some more of these. These are basically lids to little condiment cups. I use those condiment cups constantly. You'll see they're up here. And so I've ordered a whole bunch more. It's great too for the students. When they're cutting little wire, solder, what have you, then they've got their own little cup to do that. Just there's a MAP gas torch. There's some of the little butane torches. Sometimes if I've got a big class and we're doing lots of fusing, then they can take one of those over to their station and fuse. My soldering station. I have a whole nother video on that on my YouTube channel. It's also on my website. On my Facebook page. Love that it's the way it's set up. Since I've turned it this way, I don't need to roll it out so much. I've got plenty of room for students here. They'll pull up a chair or more all the way around here. So when I'm demonstrating something, I'll just pull up to that side and they can see. And then when they get ready to fuse, I can sit on the opposite side and coach them and watch what they're doing. I have students that are very comfortable with the torch now, so when they get to that stage, they just come over here and use it. I got my hard charcoal blocks, third hands, fumigator, ventilator, whatever you want to call it, flux, various little this and that's, quench container, sparker, both of my torches, flux, drawers to hold tips and what have you. So if you're standing here, you can kind of get a view of the studio from this direction. So I have those two benches, those two tables. One is from Harbor Freight, which is the shorter one, and the other one is from Sam's. And I love them both. I love where they're at. The one that's from Sam's is taller, and it's great for standing and doing projects and various things that it's easy to stand up and you need to stand up or you want to stand up. This one is about stool height. So we pull those little stools up. I can be on one side, they can be on the other, or we can all stand around this and work, and I can do demonstrations. So that's a really, really cool thing in addition to the benches, or the jewelry benches. So if we go back over here, now this does not normally stay out because I've been doing tons and tons of etching. I have put this out so it will be handy. If I'm kind of over the etching and I'm doing other projects, I will put this away. This is a t-shirt heat press. Because I do so many patterns on that blue P&P paper, then I use this to heat that onto the metal and press it onto the metal to get a good sturdy pattern. So, but this is very temporary. It's temporary setup. When I've definitely got lots of students that sit here, you know, I'll move that away and be out of their way. This is a display I made, probably 2 years ago. It is burlap. This one happens to have green burlap with that wire mesh just for fencing or whatever. It's fairly thin. I made the frame out of canvas stretching frame and added the little doodahs, even added some little nail head embellishments. It hangs up with D-rings, and I made the little display items out of pool noodles. I cut them in half, put dowel rods to give them strength in the center, wrapped them in batting, and then covered them in burlap. And they hook on. I found these little hooks. They actually hook drapery rods. They clip onto drapery rods, and the drapery rods will have the rings, they'll have a ring, and then this goes into the hole in the ring, then this is what you clip your curtains onto. So I've got tons and tons of rings just laying around, but I love these little hooks. That way I can hook my little displays to them. So these are some of the classes that I do. We've got the hammered hearts. We have the dangly earrings. And we also do a copper and brass pair that day. Various rings. These are just a couple of rings that I set out because I put a patina on them recently. And they're going to go to the zoo with me on the September 23rd. There's my cabochon ring. That's a hammer set cabochon done in argentium, and it's completely fused. It's a beautiful ring. I wear it all the time. There's my little bee ring. It's set stone in stone, although that's not a stone. That's PMC silver. But it is set into the stone, not glued on top. So it's going to the zoo with me. I have my chain bracelet classes, my silver cuff classes, and then of course all the copper cuffs. This is an example of what we can do on the etching class. You can etch whatever you want. It doesn't have to be a verse or a quote. It can be pictures, it can be butterflies, it can be whatever. But then I show you how to rivet as well. So you'll be able to rivet the top piece onto the bottom piece, and you'll learn how to rivet. These are some examples of the leaf earrings, 3 different patinas. So that one has no patina at all, so only has a high shine. Then this one I've put a patina on, but did not put it in the tumbler. It's a very soft matte finish, very, very pretty. And then this one is exactly like that one, only it was thrown into the tumbler. So it still has the patina, but it also has a high shine. And then I have a couple of pendants there. There's a PMC piece. I have a PMC basic class where you learn about PMC and you do something relatively simple like that. It's terrific fun. I love the texture you can get from PMC. Also, this is a secondary class. Once you have had the basic PMC class, and we could do this in a full day. We could do the basic in the morning and this in the afternoon. You can make your decorative element out of the PMC. Then we fuse it to the back sheet. You learn how to make a rim. Fuse that onto your sheet, how to trim it so it looks like one piece, nice and smooth. You'll add the little ring, the little balls, and we'll make just a simple jump ring bail. And you can put any embellishment. I have a little starfish here, but any little charm. Also in this class, you learn how to make a mold. So I found a little cheap starfish charm. It was made out of little, I don't know, it could have been tin, it could have been aluminum, I don't know, but I made that little mold out and made that little starfish. But you could do an arrowhead, you could do a butterfly, you could do a compass, you could do anything, a button, a charm, anything. You can make your own mold. You will always have the mold, and then you'll put the PMC into it, and then you can make a little pendant. I think those would be grand Christmas presents. They're simple and easy. Once you learn how, you can rent studio time. Just simply buy the supplies, come here, make dozens and dozens of these for Christmas. And wouldn't that be special? These are some fuse pendants. The really, really special thing about these is you learn to make an articulated bail. So that means that the bail is not fixed. It goes through a hole. It's a little challenging. Also, you learn how to really, really fuse and to manipulate the pieces to stay where you want them. Those little granulations are floating out there, and you know, to try to get them to stay right exactly where you want them is somewhat challenging. That one has a CZ set in it in a tube. That's only, you can set a CZ, but only for advanced students. It's much more challenging than you think. The setting part is not so hard, but getting everything to be just right so it'll set really pretty is a little challenging for students. And then there's a pearl set in a little pearl cup with granulation around it. This is my Southwest Cross. Simple class, 4-hour class. It's so cute. Then we can do the chain class, square wire, the little crosses. There's 2, so it doesn't matter which way the chain falls. It's always going to have a decorative cross. Another student bench. Another student bench. The Harbor Freight bench. I store all my wire in that first one right here. I have these folders. I have them marked, so I just pull it out. This I have copper and brass. So I have tons and tons and tons of brass sheet, or copper sheet, brass sheet, and bronze sheet. Those foam for etching. There's just some baggies down under there. I have a stump. I'm very, very blessed to have a wooden stump. Southwest stamps, my little anvil, and hammers. I have 2 flat, I think these are called drill press vices. I like them better for certain things, so I have those here. On the benches, I have a regular vise. They're good for holding some things, but for holding mandrels and things of that nature, I really prefer these. Plus, it puts them at the right height for students to be hammering. I have little metal tape measures on here. That's really cool if you're working and you need to measure something quickly. They're affixed to the bench. I have a disc cutter. I have a dapping block, and I have a Peppy jump ring maker. Now, I don't use the cutter. I can saw through them so quickly that it's more time to set it up than it is to, for me, than it is to set that up and then it is to saw through it. But I love the mandrels and I love the winder, and if I was making a lot of really smaller jump rings, I probably would take the time to set it up. I have a little portable light that we can bring out here if we're working and we need some very direct light. So we have that. That's a little cup warmer. When I'm making PMC, I'll turn that on and I'll set them on it, and they'll dry out before I put them in the kiln. I have a display here. I made this display last year. I made 4 of them. It is just like the green one, only they're smaller, and they're done in cream. And this is a start of all the butterfly stuff I've been making, and there's a little video I have of that. I have another student bench. They're all pretty much the same and pretty well equipped the same. On this side of the bench, there's just a few things. I have this class as well. The chain for it, which I don't have mine finished yet, but there is a video of a student's on this Facebook page. But this is a class. It is so much fun. It is challenging. There are more parts than you realize. That little cabochon that we make sits on a step bezel, so you have to not only put a bezel on it, you have to put a step bezel. But you learn riveting, not just plain riveting like on the cuff. These are balls, so I show you how to set the little ball rivets without destroying them. Here's a little ring I made. I've got to make one of those today for a client. She's so sweet. She's been patient with me this week. I promised it quicker, but a lot of things have happened this week. And there's another little butterfly cuff. I've finished the edges real shiny. It's hard to see in the video, but I've still got a little bit more finishing to do on that. So, and then here's my tall Sam's table, which I dearly, dearly, dearly love. This is my bench shear. I love it. You can cut metal with straight square lines very easy, very quickly. I have drill press. I slide it out when I need it. Those are GRS vices that rotate. Put these instead of the bench pin. You take the bench pin off, you slide this on, and then you can hammer set your cabochon rings, which is cool. That's a pitch pot for chasing and repoussé. I don't use that much. I just have so many other things. I have this little bitty, inexpensive PMC kiln. I thought I would eventually get a bigger kiln, but I'm telling you, this little inexpensive thing has outshined anything I've seen. So until I have such a quantity of PMC that I need to make or other needs, I'm going to keep this little baby. He's been awesome. Here's some little PMCs fresh out of the kiln. They're white, but they will shine up. They are pure silver. So that's one little embellishment. And then I have this little butterfly, and I think I'm going to put those two on a ring. A little pile of metal. Another display with a random pair of earrings. Little of this, a little of that. Then, as you guys may remember, I used to do tons of beading. So I've kind of condensed and moved that up there. And then I've got stamps in there. I've got chain. I've got gloves. I've got PMC stuff. I've got a tube setting drawer. I've got leather hammering pads. And that little tool holder is all for PMC. And then I have some clear coat. So that, oh, and I have my hammer rack. Tons of hammers for students, you know, multiples, so everybody can have one. These are texturing hammers. I call them texturing hammers. Forming hammers, all different kinds of hammers. Riveting hammers, Delrin hammers, leather mallets, and my friend Alex gave me that rack she had gotten from some store closing out, I think. So, but anyway, the only thing left is the bathroom. And believe it or not, I'm so thankful to have a bathroom right off my studio, because we have to have stuff in the water constantly. So we've got our very soft brass brush. This is not a welder's brass brush. This is so soft. It's like hair. It's just amazing. I scrub my fingers with it because they get so nasty. Yes, I do. Try to clean them up and look presentable. Toothbrushes, plastic tweezers, glass containers. Dawn soap. I'm telling you, Blue Dawn soap is everybody with jewelers' best friend. It'll clean your jewelry. Get a toothbrush, get you some Blue Dawn, and scrub all that nasty old dirty jewelry, and you'll just be stunned. Acetone, towels. I also have this cabinet that I bought a long time ago at Hobby Lobby, and it stores chemicals. It stores acetone, denatured alcohol, distilled water, etching mordant, patina, baking soda, pH down for the pickle, all kinds of patinas, brushes, containers. So it's nice to have this, and then a water pitcher, because I'm constantly filling things up with water. So just one more look around. That's my beautiful bay window where I get to work. I'm so thankful. And on around, there's my soldering station. More benches. And this was just a bedroom in our home. We're very thankful to have a 4-bedroom home, and this was a large bedroom, and so I decided when we looked at this house, this was going to be my studio. One thing is, we still have the carpet, but as it's progressed, I've put tarps down. So I had one tarp originally over there, and as I've added, I've put another tarp, I've doubled them, and then I bought carpet tape, and I've stuck them down with carpet tape. So hopefully there's going to be no tripping. So got these carps, and there's nasty floor that you never vacuum, because I need to get down on my hands and knees, pick up all the itsy bitsy pieces of silver, because I don't want to vacuum up money. Oh, I had a place over here I didn't have a tarp for when I moved a table, so I just had this old throw rug I stuck in there. You know, whatever works. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'm always curious about people's studios and how they work, and if they have some great ideas for me. Oh, also, all the benches have Green Lion jeweler saws. All nice and handy right there for them. I love Green Lion saws. So if you take a class from me, you're going to have everything you need. You're going to have your own little bench. You're going to have tools. You're going to have flex shaft. You're going to have safety equipment. You're going to have jeweler saw and mandrels. And you're just going to have your own little space. Now, if you have worked with jewelry a lot and you just want to rent space come on. Don't bring any tools. Just come, rent the space, and you can sit and make jewelry. It takes a lot of equipment sometimes to make the pieces that you want. And if you do not want to make this investment, by all means, it's cheaper to come rent space. I can't even imagine how much money I've invested in this, but I know if I just wanted to make a few pieces for Christmas, or if I just wanted to learn a little bit, wasn't quite sure yet if this is what I wanted to do for a living, or if I knew I never wanted to do this for a living, but I enjoyed making jewelry, I'd certainly rent space and time. Of course, you get me. If you get stumped and you say, uh-oh, what do I do now? Then I'm right here to help you. Now, I don't consider myself a master jeweler. I know master jewelers. I'm in awe of them, but I'm gaining ground quickly. But there is a lot I know, and I know it very, very well. And I think you could ask any of my students for recommendations and the things that we learn and the things that we do. I do know very well. I'm also a good problem solver, so I think my students can attest to the fact of things don't go as planned, and they look at me with big eyes like, do we toss it? Do we fix it? What do we do? Do we start over? And I just simply say, okay, let's do this now. So I'm a good problem solver, making silk purses out of sow's ears, as my mama used to say. And so I want to encourage you to take classes. When you take a class, of course, all the tools are provided, all the materials are provided, unless, of course, the materials are extensive beyond what a normal class would be. On the rings, you would have to buy your own stone. Those are very expensive, and each person has a different taste. So, anyway, and speaking of stones, let's just go over here. And I'm still working on a better way to store my stones. But these are new ones I've tossed in here. This notebook holds stones. But I'm working on that. And I had to reconfigure those drawers. Oh, and I've got all kinds of wood swag blocks and forming things in here. So, didn't show that earlier. All right, guys. Well, I got to get busy, but I hope that you enjoyed this. And I'm all dressed for wear, so I'm going to get busy. I got a student coming at 11. She wants to redo her patina on her cuff, add some alcohol inks. We're going to try it. That's what I've been adding to some of the butterfly cuffs, and she really liked that and wanted to add it to her cuff. So she bought a little extra time. She's coming in, and we're going to see what we can do. So if you have any questions, leave it below. If you want to inquire about a class, the things I had up on the board are not the only classes that I have. I do custom classes. Oftentimes students will say, well, I like this, but I don't like that. Can we do something in between? Absolutely. We can manipulate a class to make a piece of jewelry you really, really want. Because if it's only about making the jewelry that you're not going to wear, then it is no fun. Now, a few of the basic classes, yes, we stick strict to them because they have a method of teaching you a unique skill or introducing you to a unique skill. So those I'm not flexible on. But once we get past the very basic beginning classes, absolutely, if you've got a project in mind, we can do it. Now, I highly discourage any kind of copying. A lot of times they'll bring a piece or a picture and they'll say, I want to make this. Well, I won't allow them on my watch to copy somebody else's work. But if we can significantly alter it to make it individual piece of work, just using the concept, I'm all for that. But please don't ask me to copy bit by bit, piece by piece, somebody else's work. But I'm pretty creative. I imagine you're pretty creative, and we can figure out something that will resemble the concept but not copy. So keep that in mind. Christmas is coming up. What fun would it be for you and your girlfriends to come in here and start making Christmas gifts? Oh my goodness. That would be so much fun. And can you imagine what your mom or your sister, or we can even make some men's items, and wouldn't they just be blown away? And so much more fun than going to the mall and fighting the hordes of people. Okay, so private message me, text me. My phone number is 405-921-8449. You can message me on Facebook. You can email me, najackson@cox.net. My website is nancyjacksondesigns.com. Most of the classes are on there. There's some more I need to still get on there. So let me know. Just questions. I don't mind answering questions at all. So talk to you soon. Bye-bye.